Hi, Mavs. Hi, Rainbow Group. It is so good to see you guys. So, thanks for being with me today, and I'm excited for us to see each other in person tomorrow. But for today's reading lesson, you are going to need something to write with in your blue writing folder. So, go ahead and snag that right now. You can pause me if you need to make sure you get that. And we're going to begin. All right, so go ahead and find your learning target. On to 1, 2. I can use evidence from the text to understand how a character feels. Woo! So today we get to read one of our favorite stories, Chrysanthemum, and we are going to think about what the character looks like and things that the character says in order to understand how the character is feeling. And we have this character feelings chart right here. So some ways that characters can feel. And happy is just such this general. So if we can be specific with character feelings, it really helps us to understand the character even more. So I want you to look here. We have, of course, happy, sad. We have confused, surprised, lonely, shocked, confident, frustrated, thankful, heartbroken, creative, foolish, furious, proud, lazy, excited, greedy, scared, angry, curious, frightened, hurt, weak, guilty, relieved, worried, responsible, lucky, hungry, disappointed. So today, Mass, I want us to be thinking about what are some really specific words that we can think about how Chrysanthemum feels when she is experiencing her first time going to school.
Welcome to Storybook Nanny. Subscribe for more books read aloud. Chrysanthemum.
So, we have our video up and we are going to get ready to go. Before we do this, please make sure that you have your blue writing folder. Now today, readers, we are going to open up our books and I'm going to show you so that we can be using and thinking about evidence from the book as we listen to the video today. So you're going to open up your reading and writing pack, and today we're going to go to page 30. So all the way back. Oh, sorry. 31. We're doing 31 and then we're doing 30. All right. How did the character feel in the story? So before we begin, we're going to go ahead and write the name of the book down. Okay, so the name of the book that we're reading today is Chrysanthemum. Chrys. Chris. I want to make sure I spell it right. Chris, Chrys, and, so Chris, and, I see the word the, T-H-E, M-N, Chris and map. So it looks like this. Chris and them. And one of the fun things about this is the name of the character is the same name as the book that we're going to read. So right now, you got to just copy the word that you wrote above. And remember, the nice thing about this, I'm going to go faster than we might normally do because you can pause the video as much as you need to fill it in. Chrys, Chris, and them, Them, and And today you guys are readers and writers, and I want you to make sure that the letters that you write are facing the correct direction. So as you write this, check number 1, the spelling, number 2, the direction of your letters. All right, Matt. So today what we're going to do is there's a lot of feelings that Chrysanthemum feels and experiences in this book. We're going to try to find and identify those feelings, and we're going to use pictures and text to help support how she is feeling, as evidence to support those feelings. All right, Maths, let's get started. First, we're going to listen to this quick video. So what are the characters doing and showing? What do they look like? How is she feeling now? So you're going to look at what the character's doing, look at their facial expressions, how is she feeling? What was she doing that lets you know that she is sad and frustrated? So remember, as we go through, we're going to look at the words, and we're really going to be looking at the text, at the pictures as well, for us to be supported in our thinking. How is she feeling now? What is she doing with her body? What does her facial expression show? How can we tell that she is angry, frustrated, mad? Look at her face. What is she doing? What is she doing? Disgusted, grossed out, annoyed. What is her facial expression? How do the pictures and the actions help you know how she's feeling? All right, Matt. So now we're ready to use our background knowledge about emotions and expressions to read our book, Chrysanthemum. We'll pause along the way to complete this work together, and then you will take a photo and add it to Seesaw.
The Mum by Kevin Hayes. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved
And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. I want you to look, let's use that evidence, that text right here. Look at her face right now. Okay, we can tell that chrysanthemum is feeling happy by her facial expressions. So right now we can say the character is feeling happy. We can also say she's feeling confident. Okay. And the text to support, well, we have pictures. And remember, if I'm writing fast, just pause me. Okay, we have pictures that show her smiling in the mirror. And maybe we'll just do that, smiling in the mirror. So we can use picture text support and word text support in order to support our understanding of how the character is feeling. Let's keep going.
Loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. Hooray! Said Chrysanthemum. When Mrs. Chudd took roll call, everyone giggled.
All right, so we're going to pause again. I'm noticing something else. How about you? So on here it says, on the first day of school, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. So Mavs, let's use that as our text evidence. So we'll say she wore her biggest smile and she ran all the way. So this time we're going to use text, words, as our text support. And we're going to say that she wore her biggest smile and she ran all the way. So Max, think about an emotion that you would have if you had your biggest smile and you were running all the way. How would you be feeling? We could say happy, right? But we've already said that. What's another word that we could use? Could we say she is excited? She is thrilled. Right? Those are two words that help us to understand because she's wearing her biggest smile. When you're wearing your biggest smile, you're not just happy, you are thrilled. And when you were running all the way to school, you weren't just happy, you were excited, right? So we're really trying to think of those detailed words that we can support our thinking for the character's feeling with evidence from the text. All right, Max, pause me right now so you can finish this writing, and then we're going to come back and we're going to begin.
Giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Frida, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful.
You guys, that is such a great word that the author uses to let you know exactly how she's feeling. So in this example, Maths, we are going to look at her face. How does she look right now? Sad, right? And what does the writer, what does the author say? He says, chrysanthemum wilted. He wilted. Or she wilted. Okay, so we're going to go here. And I also just realized that I was saying M-N-M, it's M-U-M, like a mum, like a flower. Hopefully you got that better than I did. So sorry about that. All right, Math. So this time we're going to use a picture and a text. So we're going to use picture. Okay, very sad face. Right, her eyes are sad. She has an upside down smile. Okay, and the text. And we're going to write her name again. Great practice, especially for Mrs. Hampton, obviously. C-H-R-Y-S, Chris, and them, the mom. Chris and the mom. Chrysanthemum. The chrysanthemum, what did she do? She wilted. Now, this is actually a metaphor. It doesn't actually mean that she's like falling over, right? But what these author is trying to say is he's trying to say that her heart, that she just felt embarrassed. And really, I mean, she's super sad. She has a sad face. She's wilting. Okay, so she's embarrassed. She's sad. Okay, and you can see that from the words and the pictures. So we have two pieces of evidence in this example. All right, if you want to keep writing, go ahead and pause the video, and then we'll go back.
The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now put your head down. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful, and precious, and priceless, and fascinating, and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chud. Now put your head down. I just cannot believe your name, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous. And envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced, said her father. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and punchies. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life.
Whoa, I'm noticing another piece of text evidence. All right, Mav, so let's go here. We're going to pull it up, and we can use that face that she has that we can tell, right? Her eyes are big, big eyes. The worst nightmare in her entire life. So we can use a word in this case that's even bigger. I'm going to put T for here for text and P here for picture. And even bigger than scared. What's another word that's even bigger than scared? What do you think? Yes, could we use the word terrified? Excuse me, Max. She is terrified. The emotion that she's feeling is terrified. So, Mavs, you're going to keep going. We're going to keep listening to this book, but we're going to be done with the piece here. But I want you to pause your video and tell someone out loud or say out loud when you notice a change in Chrysanthemum's emotions and what she does or says or how she looks to support how you think she's changing in her emotion. So pause the video if you want to keep writing this down. And now we're going to I want you to be doing that thinking out loud since we've had practice together for the first part of the book. All right, Maps, I'm just going to let you listen to this book, but I want you to pause the book now as you notice in the pictures how her emotions are telling you how she's feeling and in the words and what they are saying. So I'm going to let this be your independent part where you can be the leader of your thinking and sharing as you pause your video.
Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum! 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 The flowers seemed to say. That morning, the students were introduced to to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Joe was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy! Chrysanthemum's a daisy! Joe, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. And what's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum, was the answer. Her name is so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She's named after a flower. My name is long, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is, said Joe. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And, said Mrs. Twinkle, I'm named after a flower, too. You are? said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Joe. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. Overall, the class musicale was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the dainty fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire dance of the flowers. Eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. If you like these videos, support Storybook Nanny on Patreon.
All right, Mavs. Hopefully you were able to find a few more ways and times to pause this video as you found the change how Chrysanthemum continued to feel and experience different emotions throughout this book. I love spending time with you today, and I am excited to see the photo of your thinking. Bye, Mavs.